You're over 40, and for the first time, you're asking yourself, when did I stop being the main character in my own story? You've built a life for your children, for your husband, for the image the world expected of you. But what about you? Where do you even exist in this story, my darling? There comes a moment in every woman's life when the noise finally stops. And what's left isn't peace, it's a question. Quiet, but brutal. Have I actually been present in my own life? I learned these truths the hardest way possible, by living them. Not from books, not in a doctor's office. I learned them in those 3 a.m. moments, in decisions that hurt, in years that only started making sense long after they passed. That's why I know that what you're about to hear today, you won't find anywhere else. Stay with me until the end, because today, my darling, I'm going to share the 6 truths that life only reveals after 40. The ones nobody had the courage to tell you, and the ones that are going to change the way you see yourself. Truly. This time. If you've made it this far, I already know one thing about you. You're ready to hear what perhaps no one else has had the courage to tell you yet. My name is Diane. Welcome to your moment. I'm 45 years old. And I'm not here because I read all the right books or took the right classes. I'm here because I lived it. Because I was also that woman who woke up early, went to bed late, took care of everyone else. And then, at some point, looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person looking back. I know what it's like to wear a smile that isn't yours. I know what it's like to feel like you're doing everything right, and yet still feel like something is deeply wrong. And I know, better than anyone, what it's like to only start understanding things after 40 that should have been obvious all along. They aren't complicated things. They are simple truths. But they are truths that no one teaches you. Advice that doesn't help until the time is right. Things we only truly absorb once we've lived enough to understand. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. In this video, you're going to understand why not everyone who stays by your side is actually loyal, and how to tell the difference. You're going to understand why seeking approval from those around you is a prison you built yourself, brick by brick, thinking it was love. And you're going to understand why the life you spent years building might not be the life you, deep down, actually want for yourself. These are truths that sting a little, but they set you free so much more. If you're here, my darling, it's because a part of you already knows that the time has come. The time to see yourself clearly. The time to stop putting yourself on the back burner. You're in the right place. Let's start with the truths that hurt the most. The ones involving the people around you. Because before a woman can understand anything about herself, she needs to see clearly what is happening outside of her. Truth 1. Not everyone who stays is loyal. There is a massive difference between presence and loyalty. For years, you've confused the two. Some people are always there, at the birthday party, at the Sunday cookout, in the group text. They're always present. But presence isn't loyalty. Presence is just habit. It's comfort. It's routine. Loyalty is what happens when you aren't in the room. It's what someone says about you when your back is turned. It's whether they defend you when it would be easier to stay quiet. It's whether they stay when staying actually costs them something. A loyal person doesn't vanish the moment you stop being useful to them. Have you noticed, my darling, how some people disappear exactly when you start saying no? When you stop being available at a moment's notice? When you start setting boundaries? That's not a coincidence. It's a revelation. After 40, you start to see this with a clarity you didn't have before. And it hurts, because it means reevaluating bonds you thought were solid. But it is also one of the most liberating things that can ever happen to you. Truth 2. Other people's approval is a prison, and you built the bars yourself. Think about it. How many decisions have you made in your life by first wondering what everyone else would think? The clothes you chose, the job you stayed in because it looked good on paper, the relationship you kept on life support because of what people would say, the opinions you swallowed just to keep the peace, the dreams you tucked away because they felt selfish. You built this prison brick by brick. And the worst part? You thought you were doing the right thing. Because from the time you were a little girl, you were taught that being good means being approved of, that being loved means being accepted, that existing means being validated by others. But no one told you the price tag. The price is a life that looks like yours on the outside, but has nothing of you on the inside. It's waking up one day and realizing you don't even know what you want anymore. Because you've spent so long living out other people's expectations that you forgot how to want for yourself. Approval doesn't nourish you, my darling. It's an addiction. And the more you chase it, the emptier you feel. Truth 3. Silence is power, and you were taught to be afraid of it. Most women feel the need to fill the silence. We fill it with explanations, with justifications, with apologies that no one even asked for. You explain why you said no. You justify why you need time for yourself. You apologize for having an opinion. It's as if living your life to the fullest requires a permission slip. You don't owe anyone an explanation for taking up space. Strategic silence, knowing when not to respond, when not to explain, and when to simply let someone else sit with their own discomfort, is one of the most powerful ways to move through this world. But they don't teach that to girls. They teach us to be sweet, to be polite, to soften the blow. After 40, you start to understand that you don't need to say everything you think, but you absolutely need to stop saying things you don't think just to please others. Silence isn't absence, my darling. It is presence by choice. Now comes the hardest part. Because the truths I'm about to tell you aren't about the people around you. They are about you. And these are usually the ones we resist seeing the most. Truth 4. Taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's an emergency. You grew up learning that taking care of others is a virtue, and taking care of yourself is vanity. It's selfish. It's inconsiderate. So you kept putting yourself at the back of the line, after the kids, after your husband, after work, after your obligations, after everyone else, and you stayed there, waiting for your turn. But your turn never came, my darling, because no one calls your name for your turn. You have to take it. Self-care isn't about spa days and weekend getaways. It's about asking yourself what you need and taking that answer seriously. It's about refusing to treat yourself as the least important person in your own life. It's about stopping the guilt for having boundaries, for being exhausted, or for needing space. That guilt you feel when you put yourself first, it was planted there. You weren't born with it. Someone, culture, family, religion, society, put that guilt inside you to keep you small and available. Recognizing this won't make the guilt vanish overnight, but it gives you the power to stop obeying it. Truth 5. Loneliness and being alone are two completely different things. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely lonely. Have you felt that, my darling? In the middle of a family gathering, at dinner with friends, lying in bed right next to someone. That is loneliness. And loneliness has nothing to do with how many people are around you. It has everything to do with how much you are betraying yourself just to stay in those relationships. Being alone, on the other hand, can be the most honest place you've ever lived. Being alone is when you sit in silence and don't have to perform for anyone. It's when you meet yourself without the pressure to be who everyone else needs you to be. Many women are terrified of being alone because they confuse it with being lonely. So they stay in relationships that empty them, in friendships that drain them, and in dynamics that suffocate them, just so they don't have to face the silence of their own company. But the woman who learns to be at peace alone stops accepting company that costs more than it's worth. Truth 6. The life you built might not be the life you actually want. This is the hardest one of all, because it means looking back at years of effort, sacrifice, and choices and asking yourself, is this what I want? And maybe the answer is no. Or maybe it's, I don't even know anymore. That isn't a failure, my darling. That is clarity. Realizing that the life you have was built on other people's expectations doesn't erase everything you've lived. It doesn't mean it was all wrong. It just means you finally have enough vision to choose what comes next. And that is the only question that matters now. What would you choose if you were finally choosing for yourself? Now, I need to tell you something, and I need you to listen closely, because this is the part that changes everything. These 6 truths we've talked about today, about loyalty, about approval, about silence, about self-care, about loneliness, and about the life you built, they didn't just suddenly appear once you turned 40. They were always there. Always. You just couldn't see them because you were too busy. Too busy being whatever everyone else needed. Too busy fixing. Too busy proving. Too busy just surviving until tomorrow. Life was simply too loud for these truths to reach you clearly. Think about a house full of people. The TV is blaring, kids are running around, the phone is ringing, and there's a pot boiling over on the stove. You can't hear what someone is trying to tell you from across the room. Not because their voice isn't there, but because the noise is just too much. Midlife is when the house finally starts to get a little quieter. It's not because life got easier, my darling. It's because you've lived long enough to stop chasing things that will never fulfill you. It's because certain illusions have finally shattered, because certain losses have taught you their lessons, because you know, deep in your bones, what hurts, and you recognize it much faster when you're headed in that direction. Midlife doesn't take anything away from you. It removes the noise. And when the noise stops, what emerges isn't a void. It's you. I know there's a part of you that still sees this as a loss, as if hitting 40 and finally seeing these things is a sign that you've wasted time, that you're too late, that you should have figured it out sooner. But think about the woman you were before, overwhelmed, rushing, without a single inch of breathing room. She wasn't in a place to receive these truths, not because she was weak, but because she hadn't lived enough yet to truly understand them. And there's one more thing. What you do with what you see now doesn't just affect you. It affects every woman around you who is still caught in the middle of the noise. Your daughter, your niece, your younger friend. When you choose to see yourself with clarity, you are silently giving them permission to do the same one day. A woman who reaches 40 with her eyes wide open isn't lost. For the first time, my darling, she is whole. And now that you can see, what are you going to do with it? Seeing the truth is the first step. But seeing it without taking action just becomes another weight you have to carry. So, I'm going to give you 3 concrete actions. Simple. No miracle promises, no overnight transformations. Just small steps that, when added up, change the entire direction of your life. And I ask one thing of you. Don't try to do all 3 at once. Choose one, the one that makes the most sense for where you are right now, and start there. 1. Name what no longer serves you. Without guilt, without ceremony, grab a piece of paper or open the Notes app on your phone and write down one thing, just one, that you know, deep down, no longer fits in your life. It could be a draining relationship, a role you play out of obligation, a habit you keep because you're afraid of change, a version of yourself you've already outgrown but still perform for others. You don't have to act on it yet. You don't have to tell a soul. Just name it, because what has a name can be faced. What remains nameless continues to control you without you even realizing it. Naming it isn't giving up, my darling, it's seeing clearly. And seeing clearly is the beginning of any real choice. 2. Practice silence as a choice. This week, choose one situation where you would normally explain, justify, or apologize, and don't do it. Someone asks a question that doesn't deserve a detailed answer? Just say no and stop there. Someone pressures you for a justification? Take a breath and let the silence do the work. It's not being rude. It's taking a stand. You don't need to build a legal case for every boundary you set. The boundary itself is the answer. It will feel uncomfortable at first. That discomfort is the signal that it's working. Keep going. 3. Make one small decision that is yours alone. Not a big decision. Not a life-altering pivot. One small thing this week that you do because you want to, without consulting anyone, without asking for approval, and without considering what others might think. It could be a solo walk, a meal you choose without checking if everyone else likes it, a quiet moment you protect without feeling guilty about it. Every small decision you make for yourself is a brick put back into the home that is yours. Don't underestimate the small, my darling. The woman you want to be is built from choices just like these, accumulated one by one, day after day. If this video touched something you've been carrying for a long time, I have a next step to offer you. It's called The Woman I Forgot to Be, a self-discovery guide created for women who are ready to put themselves first, perhaps for the first time in their lives. It's not a list of rules, it's an honest mirror. The link is pinned in the first comment. You don't have to feel ready. You just have to take that first step. Before you go, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to answer honestly in the comments. Of the 6 truths we talked about today, which one hit you the hardest? It doesn't have to be the most beautiful one. It can be the one that stung, the one you recognized in yourself by accident, the one you've needed to hear for years but no one ever said out loud. Tell me. I read every single comment, and knowing what resonates with you helps me bring more conversations like this one to the table. If this video made sense to you, hit that like button before you leave. It tells me that this topic matters and keeps me going. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now so you don't miss the next videos. Because every week, there's a new moment right here, just for you. Take care of her, my darling. She has waited long enough. I'll see you next week.